Hi, everyone, and welcome to Who Threw the Curve, and this is a Robert Ruiz rant. And today, we're going to be speaking on, can the U.S. collapse like the Soviet Union did? The Soviet Union, a sprawling empire that went from being a superpower to a historic footnote, faster than you can say glasnost. The idea of the United States following in those footsteps is both fascinating and, let's be honest, a little terrifying. But hey, let's sprinkle in some sarcasm and humor to make this existential dread a bit more palatable. Let's speak on the Soviet Union, a cautionary tale. First, let's recap the Soviet Union's greatest hits. It was a land of breadlines, propaganda, and a space race that gave us both Yuri Gagarin and the phrase, in Soviet Russia, car drives you. It collapsed in 1991 under the weight of its own inefficiencies, corruptions, and leadership style best described as winging it. The Soviet Union's downfall was like a slow-motion train wreck. Economic stagnation, check. Political infighting, double check. A military budget that made accountants weep, triple check. By the time Mikhail Gorbachev came along with his reforms, it was like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape and good intentions. Now, let's speak on the United States, a modern-day Soviet Union. Now, could the United States face a similar fate? Well, let's look at the ingredients for a collapse and see if Uncle Sam's pantry is stocked. Well, let's speak on number one, economic inequality. The gap between the rich and the poor in the U.S. is wider than the Grand Canyon. While billionaires are launching themselves into space for fun, many Americans are struggling to afford health care. If history teaches us anything, it's that extreme inequality is like playing Jenga with your society. Eventually, it all comes crashing down. Let's speak on number two, political polarization. The U.S. political landscape is so divided it makes the Cold War look like a friendly disagreement. When half of the country thinks the other half is the enemy, governing becomes less about compromise and more about who can shout the loudest. Let's speak on number three, the overextended military. The U.S. spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. While that's great for Hollywood action movies, it's not great for long-term sustainability. Just ask the Soviet Union how that worked out. Let's speak on number four, the cultural fragmentation. The U.S. is a melting pot, but lately it feels more like a potluck where nobody brought the same dish. From social media echo chambers to debates over what books should be in schools, the cultural fabric is looking a bit frayed. But wait, there's more. Of course, the U.S. has some advantages that the Soviet Union didn't. For one, it's a capitalist economy, which, love it or hate it, tends to be more adaptable than a centrally planned one. Plus, the U.S. has a knack for reinventing itself. Just look at how it went from the Great Depression to the post-war boom. And let's not forget the power of memes. If there's one thing that can unite Americans, it's the ability to laugh at their own dysfunction. The Soviet Union didn't have TikTok, and honestly, that might have been his biggest mistake. So, can it happen? In theory, yes. Any empire can collapse if the right or wrong conditions are met. But the U.S. has a unique resilience that makes it hard to count out. It's like that one friend who always seems to land on their feet no matter how many bad decisions they make. That said, if the U.S. ever does collapse, at least we'll have front row seats to the greatest reality show of all time. And who knows, maybe Canada will finally get its moment in the spotlight. Thank you for listening to Who Threw the Curve. And don't forget to like us, share us, and subscribe. Thanks.